You excited about your Pacers?
Yeah, I am definitely excited to see the Pacers, hopefully close this series out. And, it would be nice to see the Pacers bring a championship to Indianapolis. A lot of people was there in the ABA days, but, this is like a, for real thing. We haven't been since Reggie, so I think it'd be good for us.
Just the recovery, can you talk about it and just where you are and how health-wise, how do you feel right now, maybe even compared to a year ago at this time?
Health-wise, I feel better. I should say. I feel like I took care of my body a little bit better this offseason. That was the main thing. Just make those little small adjustments from last year to this year, and just work on them and get better. I lost a lot of body fat, and I pride myself on that, and so I'm happy about that.
Is there a change in diet, change in regimen? What specifically do you think? What can kind of contribute to that?
I would say Kelsey, which is our nutritionist, and so we worked all off season together, and we came up with a great plan, and it definitely came together, and it was worked out for me.
Was it mostly the injury last year that kept you from maybe being in the shape you wanted to be in, or did you just sort of have to learn what it took?
No, for sure. The lingering injury, with my knee, and it sucks. Like I want to be out there. I'm gonna do as much as I can. But I can only go as far as my body goes. And like I said, I had to have surgery last year, and I feel better now.
I know it was only those 3 games we got to see you start at left tackle, but I know Andrew and Kevin have been really complimentary of what you were able to do over there in that small sample size. Just how would you assess what you did last year, and how ready are you to try to show that starting job should be yours this year?
My main thing is just to take a challenge on. I kept it as real as possible. AB, I personally don't like playing left tackle like that, but I don't care. Like, I'm athletic. It comes with the nature of the game. And I think if Worth can do it, and he went from right to left, and he struggled too. And if he can do it, I know I can. Because he's athletic enough, he's big enough, just like me. And I feel that.
What has made you like the right side so much? I guess early on.
I mean, it was something that you play your whole life.
Yeah.
I think you can't. It's hard to adapt to something else. I have like a big, strong, right hand punch. I'm right-handed, so it's easy to punch with your right. But left side, I feel like it's more finesse, and the game is like, it comes to you a little bit slower, and sometimes faster at times. It just depends.
Dawand, I'm sorry you answered this already, but how much weight did you lose?
Lost a lot of body fat. I'm kind of the same weight-ish from. I would say I lost probably 20 pounds from last year. So no range or nothing, but. For sure lost a lot of body fat.
Why is the move from one side to the other so difficult? For some guys who can do it flawlessly and others who can't. I think people kind of assume it's maybe easier just because it's the same position, but why is it?
It's just different just because of the angles. That's the main thing. And for me, I'm still trying to figure that out. It's just like, the way to shave or something, and it just comes to you more natural. You're right-handed, and it's like doing everything with your left, it's like writing your hand with your left, I feel like I'm gonna start doing that stuff in life, just start doing everything with my left, and I'm already trying to do that, and so I feel like it's working for me.
How did you go about losing that weight, that body fat, and how will that make you a better player?
Like I said, I am playing left tackle. Most of the left tackles are a little bit more leaner, and I feel like that would help my game, being lean and be able to get with the ball. I'm not going against Miles all the time on the right side, left side. Miles is there every time, so lighter off your feet, and you can be able to block Miles.
What can you learn? What can you learn from blocking Miles once he gets here?
Probably patience. He has a lot of power. I think that's the main thing I'm learning. And his finesse. His finesse at the top of the rush, or to just shock and shed you. I think that's where I can really learn a lot of. Figure out my hands, where to put them, and I think he'll help me out a lot.
Are you studying certain guys? I remember last year you said something about Ronnie Stanley. You really like him. Are you studying certain guys?
Yeah, I think I did Trent Brown this offseason. I see you peeped that. I did Trent Brown this offseason. He had a real good year when he went to left from left to right, or right to left from the Patriots when he was on their team, and I think he did a real good job. And they kind of played similar opponents we did because they're in the AFC, and so I really like that about him. And he went against Miles, and he has something for Miles, and I just take that and try to put it in my game.
Just considering the injuries you've dealt with the first 2 years of your career, I know the broken bone's kind of a freak thing, but changing your body composition, doing all those things, how much of that is kind of inspired by wanting to, I imagine, play all 17 regular season games?
Yeah, that's that's one of my major goals that I made is just finish out a whole season, and I just want to live up to that.
I know Joel's not out there on the field with you guys right now, but I know he's been around and stuff like that. How much can you or will you lean on him just to kind of be on that left side and you're going to play next week?
I lean on him a lot. He's right next to me in the meetings. No, you could rock. I lean on Joe a lot though. He's right next to me at meetings, and I think he helps me out just because he knows I'm a young guy. I haven't played on that side, and so he kind of gives me the cheat sheet. But I kind of try to figure things out on my own, which it's football, which you got to.
When you watch guys like Ronnie, Trent, Tristan Works, what are you specifically watching? What are you trying to take away?
Kind of a renewed toughness trying to be.
Just the way they move in space, I think sometimes I struggle with that, just moving in space, me as a big guy. And, Trent Brown, Williams, Tristan, they all move well in space. And, in a pass game, their feet is always in sync with each other. Sometimes, I've seen Trent get beat. Trent, obviously, he's got beat by Miles. He's got beat by Micah, but, it's very rare. And, I want to be in that very rare category. And, it's good watching them and, getting that, film because, you see it and then you go do it on the field and that helps out so much.
What was the recovery like from the broken leg? And when did you basically get back to being able to go more and actually participate in stuff like this?
The recovery was long. That was the main part. I just put my head down. Like I said, I feel like I could have really attacked the years past prior treatment a little better. I feel like I did that this year. It definitely is at times it's sore, and it's stuff I can't control. But I definitely took a good approach. The trainers here got me right for sure.
Hey, Dawand, you were a basketball player in high school, and a lot of times people say when you cross-train in other sports, it helps you in football or other sports. You think that the footwork you had to use playing basketball helps you help you develop as a tackle and you're able to play both sides and it's flawless, man?
I think that's the main thing, as well as like I said, my footwork. Yes, playing basketball helped a lot, whether from shuffling, like I said, I had to turn this way or shuffle from right to, and it's just like football, you're going to shuffle on defense and, you just can't let the guy get to the basket. And
right.
So that's my main goal. Don't let the guy get to the quarterback, don't let the guy get to the basket.
How's it been like working with Coach Bloomgren and everything?
It's been well. He's came from Bill, and he's got some good stuff from Coach Callahan, and I love that.
I know Joel said he's been good with developing the young guys, especially already early. I'd consider you in that group. Do you feel like that you're going to take a next step with him?
Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, we just had 3 in the past 3 years, but hopefully Coach Bloom gets to stay, and I would let it happen here for a long time.
Well, Joel also kind of said that Coach Bloomgren, he used a different word, but he called him like a jerk, sort of, and how he thinks offensive linemen kind of need that. Is that sort of the same style that you kind of appreciate in the coaching room, where they can sort of be tough on you, that sort of tough love type of thing?
Sometimes, I check it at the door. I just tell them I gotta keep it real. How you want to be coached and how you don't want to be coached. And I tell them at the beginning, and everybody finds their own lane and path. Like Callahan coached me different from the way he coached Wyatt. And, everybody knows that, and it's just that's just how the coaches are.